have to tell you, it's amazing. I think we're on a journey together that is different than anything I've ever experienced in my lifetime. The viewers and listeners have been stopping me lately and calling in and writing and saying that they're learning history right along with me. And they're absorbed. I mean, people are reading like crazy. It wasn't until I started really reading history myself, and actually to prove my daughter wrong on something, that I started really understanding the importance that it has on our lives, not just our past, but our future. Take a listen to a call that I recently got on the radio, because it reinforces some of the concepts that we've been talking about here every night, and you've been talking about with your family. The Founding Fathers got it. They knew the importance of the Constitution and limited government. That's the real answer here, but you have to discover that on your own, just like this caller did. Take a listen.
Well, you inspired me to start learning my history, and I started with the Constitution, and I'm reading the book, the Politically Incorrect Guide to the Constitution. And the one thing that jumped out at me when I read this is that there was a debate by our founders on whether to have a national government, which is top-down, you know, based on the British model, or a bottom-up version of a government called a federal government, where the states gave the rights, you know, bottom-up to the federal government. We have, and they agreed to have a federal government where the states retained the rights and gave the federal government very limited rights. In fact, the Bill of Rights was first rejected by the founders because they said the federal government has no power anyway. You know, we wrote out a couple of detailed powers that the federal government has, so you don't need a Bill of Rights. It's limited in the first place. But thankfully, they said, no, that's not good enough. The cleanest form of government is the government that is closest to the people. That's what the founders wanted. So the local government, the state government, was where all the power was because the people could control it. At the federal level, you no longer can control the power because it's not close to the people. Hence, we've morphed into a national government, where I say, Glenn, you're not radical enough, because we're not finding the next president that will give the power out of Washington back to the states. Everybody we're talking about still wants to take control of the federal government, or the national government, I should say now, and say what to do.
He gets it. It's why this show took a turn here after the first of the year. Because I think everybody is going to start, all of these political shows and everybody else, they're all going to start talking about politics and the different races and the Republicans and the Democrats. I don't care who you vote for. I don't care if you vote for a Republican or a Democrat. I'll vote for any of them if they understand what he did. If they understand the system of government and have a relationship, quite honestly, with our Founding Fathers. It's why when everybody started going this way, I decided we have to root ourselves in the truth, keep you up to speed every single day on everything that's happening in the world, give you updates, but give you perspective. You know, everybody else, like for tomorrow, on tomorrow's program, I'm going to talk a little bit about the missile launch in Iran. Okay, what does that even mean? Really? What does that mean? How do you even use that in your life? Oh, they had a missile launch. Why do you even need that information? You need that information because of the context I will put it in tomorrow. That, I mean, unless you're somebody who's listened to me for the last 5-6 years on the radio, then you've heard, you know, the Iran thing. If you haven't, it will boggle your mind. And yet I don't think anybody is going to put it into context. Well, I know. I've never seen anybody put it into context. That missile launch yesterday was huge, and hugely important. Why? Because of history and because of the people involved. I don't see a lot of people in Washington. I see a few, but I don't see very many people in Washington that understand these things or even take the time. Do they even know history? What's giving me hope this year is that you automatically know these things are true. You know it in your gut. You know. To have hope, I have to have the truth. So what's the truth? Just give it to me. I'll take it. I also, to fix anything, you also know you have to have honor. You can send another weasel politician. You know what they're going to do? They're going to screw you too. You can send a dozen of them in there, over and over and over again. But unless we fix ourselves, unless we're rooted in truth, we're rooted in the principles that are correct, and we've pinned ourselves to honor, nothing's going to change. So while everybody else plays politics, what do you say we roll up our sleeves and get to business every night? We'll be back in just a sec. America, we started the program with this. Did he keep his promise? We have monumental problems. I mean, do we need health care reform? Yeah. Not the kind, at least in my opinion, not the kind that are being jammed down our throat. Should we be able to keep our doctors? Yes. Gitmo, I don't even know. I say keep them there, but no signing statements? How about a president that is going to say, I taught the Constitution, I respect the Constitution, and this is wrong? And then keep that promise. It was about the Constitution. Lobbyists, please. We're on an unsustainable path, and you know it and I know it. I don't think the parties know it yet. I mean, they'll talk about it a little bit. I think there are a few in there that do. Record deficit. But you know what? This is not what makes us unsustainable. I have tremendous hope because I know we can turn it around, because the biggest problem in America right now is a deficit of trust, and that's not who we are. Do you trust your leaders? Do you trust the people you voted for? Would you trust those people with your children? I mean, what does that say? How many times do we have to get burned? How bad do these people have to get on both sides before we wake up and go, you know what? I mean, I showed you tonight. That's what this point was. Did he keep his promise? He's given us a sacred oath. Bush did the same thing. Did they keep their word? Democrats. I mean, the Republicans woke up. Well, not all of them, but a few of them. Their last 4 years of George W. Bush, I was wide awake going, run, run. They're lying to you. Democrats, please, we're running out of time here. I mean, when a party abandons their principles for almighty power, and they've both done it, you're in trouble. Now again, we can turn the country around. We can get back to the place where our founders intended America to be. But we don't need another politician. Stop looking for more politicians. It starts with honor and trust. No more electing people because of the R or the D. Do you trust either of them? Playing the R or the D game serves them, not you. America needs leaders who will actually put people ahead of any political party and mean it. And it starts with you. How can you hold Washington to a standard of keeping their promise if you don't? Are you living it? Say what you mean and mean what you say. Be responsible and accountable for your actions. Are you fair and honest in all of your business dealings? Forget about the past. If you're not, change it now. Live with honor. Demand the same from our elected leaders. I mean, after all, we demand it from our children. Then again, elected leaders and children, they're one and the same, aren't they? Tomorrow on this program, I've told you for years about something I call the perfect storm. Radical Islam, the economy, energy, just all of it just coming together at once. Well, Iran now says they have successfully launched a rocket into space capable of carrying satellites. Tomorrow, I'm going to speak to a professor from Berkeley, California. Yeah, this guy's way left, and I bet you we agree. You don't want to miss it. Tomorrow, from New York.